Hey guys, Akil Stokes here. Welcome back to another episode of the Trading Coach Podcast. Got another video edition for you. So I know you can watch it over on Spotify, a few other podcasting apps do the video versions. If not, you can also head over to YouTube as well. And YouTubers, if you don't usually get to see the Trading Coach Podcast, well, head over to your favorite podcasting app as we have new episodes 3 times every week. Today, we are going to talk about what separates the struggling trader from the successful trader from the super trader. You see, in a previous episode or a YouTube video, one of the two, I do a lot of this stuff, we talked about the 90-90-90 rule, and we talked about Mark Douglas's pyramid of success. So if you're unfamiliar with it, pretty much it was about 50% of traders just fail, they're bad, they're gone very, very quickly. About 30 to 40% are in that middle area called a boom or buster. Hopefully I find a graphic I can show you instead of just doing this little hand thing. And then there are about 10% of traders that are successful. Now, the thing that no one talks about is that within that 10%, there's a secret room that exists at the very top, maybe 1 or 3%, and that's where the super traders are. I don't know why I did the whole quiet voice thing, but I feel like I was talking about something secretive, so I did it like that. Anyway, what we're talking about today is how to get you to progress through that pyramid, hopefully get out of the bottom and go to the middle, and hopefully progress from the middle to the top, and potentially even be one of those traders that enters the secret room. Now, the way we're going to do it is I'm going to break it down into 3 areas that you should focus on. And I'm also going to give you a 3-step formula that you can apply right away to get you started on that journey. So if you're serious about moving out of that struggle phase to a successful phase or a super successful phase, make sure you pay attention. Now, the idea came from a tweet I recently read from Mike Bellafiore. If you guys are unfamiliar, Mike Bellafiore is the owner and founder of SMB Capital, which in my opinion is one of, if not the best prop firm here in the US. I'm a little bit biased because Mike is friends of Tier 1, so we support everything that he does. He supports what we do, but he's a good guy. They go about training traders the right way. At the very end, I'll share some books that Mike has written that you can check out. They're very helpful in my career. But it was a really cool tweet, and it said this: it's not just about how much time you put into trading, it's the intensity you bring to every moment. A young trader on our desk just celebrated a birthday, and it made me reflect on his journey. Since 2005, we've trained many elite traders at SMB, but I've never seen someone start with this level of focused intensity. He maximized the resources around him, training, capital, mentoring from elite 7-figure traders and coaches, and attacked each one like his career depended on. We saw it in the way that he peppered mentors with questions to the point where we had to pull him back. We saw it on Saturdays, always in the office reviewing. We heard it in his monthly reviews, driven to turn a good month into a great one. And I'll never forget the team that asked him to join them because they saw his fire. He didn't just do the daily report card, the playbook, the game plan, the book of charts, or trade review. He attacked them. There's review, and then there's intense review. The latter is different. The latter is what moves the needle. Think of a basketball player working on their crossover. Hear that elite coach barking during practice. Crossover like you're in a game. See the player crossing over hard in game speed, sweat dripping, muscles straining, breathing hard. Now that's practice. Intensity plus the right process plus the right resources equal an edge. Recently, that trader had his first 7-figure month, and not one person at the firm was surprised. All couldn't be happier for what this trader earned. This is what it looks like to build greatness from the ground up. It's a reminder of what's possible when you match opportunity with relentless intensity. Now, there are 3 main points that I want you to focus on, which I pulled from this statement. And this goes hand in hand with my personal experience as well. I've been coaching since 2012, and we've coached hundreds of thousands of traders from all around the world. And you can imagine we've coached some very good ones that have gone on to start prop firms and hedge funds and stuff like that. And we've coached a lot of them that it didn't pan out, where they lasted a little bit and they never changed their habit and they ultimately failed. Then, of course, there's everyone in between. And it's just cool to kind of see the similarities between those who fail, those who progress, and those who take it to that next level. And the first point that I pulled out was going to be the focused intensity, right? A lot of the time, a trader will have one or the other, but not blend them together. They are focused, meaning that they have a goal, they aspire to achieve something, they even plan out what they want to do, but they kind of just go through the motions. I'm going to take this course. I'm going to maybe show up to a live session. I'm going to hang around in the background. I'm not going to ask any questions, but I'll be here to take it in, right? They do stuff, but not enough. You can be focused. You can do everything you're supposed to do, but unfortunately, that's not enough. On the other hand, we have people that are intense. They are gung-ho. They are fully involved. They do everything, right, so intensively, but they don't really have a plan. They're being very intense with random things. This was very similar to me at the beginning of my trading journey, where I've always been intense and intentional about what I was doing. I just had no idea what was the right thing to do. So I would find something on YouTube or read it in a book, and I would dive in hardcore, but it wasn't actually anything that benefited my trading. Now, when you put two together, when you have the focused individual that is willing to dedicate energy and dedicate time and create a plan on how to progress, and then you add that intensity of, hey, like, I'm not just going through the motions, I'm not just going through the training courses and watching the videos, I'm actually doing the homework assignments, I'm actually digging to the charts, I'm not just finding 5 examples because Akil said it, I'm gonna find 10, I'm gonna find 20, I'm gonna find 30, I'm gonna take notes, all this extra stuff. That is when you see that magical blend, and that is the difference. Again, going back to athletics, right? The difference between a good athlete and a great athlete is just that. The good athlete does all the right things. The great athlete, like Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant, does it with an unmatched intensity, and that's what takes them to the next level. One of the quotes that Mike said that I really loved, again, because it reminded me of myself, is that he attacked each one of his tasks like his career depended on it. And it brings me back to the story of, and if you don't know this, I'll share it with you. I quit 3 jobs to pursue my trading career. And it's not a hero story. I don't recommend it to anyone. It was probably a really, really stupid decision that just happened to work out. But fact of the matter is, I needed to manufacture that intensity, right? I do not get intense unless something is on the line, right? You give me the ball with a second left on the clock, I'm intense because I got to win the game. You were up by 30 points, I'm just going to be lackadaisical. That's just how I am. So when I was learning how to trade and I was working 3 jobs, I had a comfortable income, I had no debt, and I was just blowing money but then replacing it when the next check came in, there was no urgency to be great. So I manufactured that for myself, where I quit my 3 jobs, put myself in a position where, like, I literally had to get good at trading because my life depended on it. There was nothing else. There was no safety net. And that's what kind of lit the fire within me to be intense. Again, not saying you should do that, bad idea, but find what that fire is. And if you don't have it naturally, find a way to manufacture it. Number 2 is going to be maximizing resources. And this goes hand in hand with kind of number 1. There are lots of resources available to you. And this day and age of the internet, you can say there is every resource available to you. Now, some is good, some is bad. You got to be able to police that on your own. But if you want to learn about something, it is there for you, right? This is why Jason and myself say, like, you know, as a trader, like, you're not going to be successful just off a course alone, right? That doesn't do anything, right? The fact of the matter is, every single thing that you'll see in any trading course out there is already available somewhere on the internet, because at some point someone has seen it and shared it. That's just how the internet works. But the difference is the mentorship, the coaching, the accountability partners, right? The different resources that you have. And the trader that Mike was speaking to, he said he maximized his resources around him. The training that he had access to, not just like training courses, but training as far as, like, you know, the different people at SMB that he was able to learn from. The capital that he had, right? It was an opportunity where he was given capital because this is a prop firm, and he used that to his advantage. We were talking about that this morning in the Q&A section, where a trader asked, what are the pros and cons of doing or working for a prop firm? I said, well, one of it is that you are given capital that you may have not had. If you're someone that only had $1,000 in your bank account to start trading with, you could be the best trader in the world, but from a monetary perspective, you're not really going to make much. However, if you have the skill of trading and you're in a position where someone may throw $100,000 at you to trade, you can now accelerate your wealth by trading with other people's money, taking whatever your commission and returns are from that, and then disposing it into your account, depositing it into your account and growing your personal account faster that way. So taking advantage of trading, taking advantage of capital, and then taking advantage of mentoring. It's very interesting how I say this on the internet all the time. I say it to the traders I work with, right? The reason that I do what I do, the reason that Jason does what Jason does is because we genuinely there we go, that's a tough word for me, get enjoyment, get pleasure, and find purpose in coaching, right? I spoke to an Instagram person this morning where it's like, Akil, why don't you do this and do that and do that? I'm like, well, if I did that, I wouldn't be able to work with a group of traders. I can help more people running my business the way that I run it versus just doing selfish one-on-one mentorship. I've done that in the past. But the fact is, we are here for you, whether you are a client of ours and you work with us on a daily basis, or if you're just listening to the Trading Coach podcast or finding us on a YouTube video or responding to a tweet or something on Instagram, right? We put ourselves out there where it's like, hey, if you have a question, if there is something that you need help with, don't feel afraid to reach out. But the fact of the matter is, so many people are afraid to reach out. People out there that aren't clients, they're afraid that, oh, I'm not a client, so I can't ask you a question. Well, just ask the question, right? If I don't want to answer it, I just won't answer it, or I'll say no. Either way, you're in the same scenario you're in as not asking it, right? However, if you do ask it, best case scenario is I do respond to it. I do create a video for it, and now you've got your answer and you've gotten a little bit better. So it's a no-lose situation for you. But even people on our platform where it's like they're nervous about asking me a question, and it's like you gotta be shameless. I remember coaching Jason Greystone, and I knew he was going to be successful right from the beginning. Do you know why? Because he came out right away between myself and Jason Stapleton. He said, look, guys, I'm going to ask the dumbest, most annoying questions. I'm probably going to ask it every single day. It's because I just need clarity. I want to make sure I'm checking all the boxes and doing the right things. And even if I think I know the answer, I just want confirmation. And he, true to his word, he did that. And we said right away, this guy's going to be super successful at trading. So there's no shame in doing it. The resources are here available for you, whether it's the coaching, whether it's other traders on the platform that have gone through the same journey that you're going through right now, or whether it's just, different Trading Coach podcast episodes or YouTube videos or Trader Coffee Breaks where we covered all types of topics. It's out there on the internet available for you. You just have to stop being lazy and take your time to find it, take it in, and learn from it. The last one was the refusal to settle, or I guess like the endless motivation. And this is something that happens to traders typically once they become successful, right? So typically when you're starting in an unsuccessful position, you're inspired, you're fired up, you're working so hard to achieve a goal. And when you get that goal, you kind of like, you let out a breath of air. You're like, I did it. And we see this in businesses a lot. This is why a lot of businesses fail too. And as soon as you do that, you take your foot off the gas. The same thing that was firing you up before, the same thing that motivated you before is not motivating you the same way. This is the same reason you hear us say and other people say, like, money can't be your main motivation, right? Money can only buy you happiness to a certain degree. Money can buy you happiness until you get out of whatever situation you're in. And then, not that it's pointless because you can always use money as a tool, but then it just doesn't bring the same type of enjoyment. So if money is the only thing you're inspired by, you're going to get to a point where you're going to plateau because you're just like, I've got all the money I need to, do whatever I want to do. Why am I motivated now? So what you have to do is you have to have that ability to shift that motivation. You have to, again, manufacture something, create something, or have a why that is so big it will never be achieved. The cool thing that I personally love about trading, and this is how it has its built-in motivation, is that I don't want to say I'm not in trading for the money, because I'm 100% in trading for the money. I wouldn't trade if I didn't think I could make money from it. But winning trades, making money off of trades isn't the motivating factor for me. That's the outcome of me doing things the right way, but that's not the motivating factor. What motivates me in the market is the analysis, understanding that I want to perfect something that by nature is unperfectible, if that's a word, is imperfect, meaning that I'm never going to be a 100% trader. I am never going to figure out exactly what the market is going to do, because the market movement is nothing more than a visual representation of us human beings, and human beings aren't perfect. We do things that aren't rational, and therefore we can have the best setup in the world and it can fail. But I'm blindly still going to think I can get close enough to whatever that perfection is. And that's why I come into the markets every day. Again, we had a Q&A session this morning, so all these things are fresh in my mind. We were talking to a trader. We did a nice little lesson on how to maximize a specific strategy. And we were talking about, hey, although these are 3 areas you can shoot for, although you may not be able to maximize the strategy, there are many things around the strategy that you can maximize. We're like, try this, do this, do this, do this, do this. There's a big checklist of a million things. And as a trader, what we're doing is we're consistently going through that checklist and trying to get a little bit better at each little section. And in return, our profits get a little bit better as well. But despite that being said, there's a give and a take to everything. So as we get a little bit better with this, it does have a little bit of a negative effect in another way. And we're trying to balance more positive effect versus negative effect. But the point is, we're never going to get to 100. It's like splitting something in half, right? If you keep halving something, you'll never get to 0. You'll just get smaller and smaller and smaller. And that's what the motivation is for me, just trying to reach whatever that impossible goal is, knowing that I can't reach it. The fact of the matter is we need to, again, manufacture that, because that's going to keep us going. I've heard so many war stories about traders who have had years of success, settled, and blew it all. And if you're in a position where you've changed your life because of trading, you just can't afford to go down that hill. So that's another thing that kind of just keeps me motivated, is that fear of losing it, that fear of failure, knowing that if I ever step off the gas, boom, I could go backwards down that hill and blow everything I've worked for over the last 2 decades. So to wrap things up, focus intensity, maximizing your resources, and a refusal to settle, endless motivations. Those are the 3 things that's going to separate the struggling trader from the successful trader, and the successful trader from the super successful trader. It's not a strategy. It's not this. It's not that. Ultimately, it's all up to you, because at the end of the day, all of the available resources out there are available to everyone. The biggest difference makers are, 1, are we going to use it? And 2, how are we going to use it? Because like Mike said, intensity plus the right process plus the right resources, that's what equals your edge. Now, before you go, I told you I had 2 books for you. Put them over here, knowing I was going to talk about it. Read them in this order. 1, One Good Trade by Mike Bellafiore, game changer in my career. It kind of, I read it at a point where I was kind of losing confidence in myself and what I was preaching and doing and teaching. And I read this and I'm like, holy crap, he's saying the same thing that we are. And it was just, a difference maker in my trading career. Also gives you a nice look inside a prop firm and what they look for, what they do, what they require. And then the playbook, right? This is going to be more like trading plan specific and kind of how you should outline what you're doing in your trading. So check out these 2 books. Check out more episodes of the Trading Coach podcast. Follow if you haven't done so already. And until next time, plan your trade, trade your plan. Take care.